जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यमुना Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare नाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते श्लोके भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summum and Bonum, Chapter 22, Krishna steals the gopis' garments. So today we have 3 verses. The first verse, text 21. Tasthavanata društva bhagavan devaki sutaha vasamsitabhya prayacha karunastena toshitaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada disciples. Seeing them bow down like that, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Devaki, gave back their garments, feeling compassionate towards them and satisfied by their act. Text 22. Dridham pralabdhastrapaya jahapita prastobhita kridana vachchakarita vastrani chaiva pahrutanyatha pyamum Tanabhyasuyan Priya Sangha Nirtuta. Translation. Although the gopis had been thoroughly cheated, deprived of their modesty, ridiculed, and made to act just like toy dolls, and although their clothing had been stolen, they did not feel at all inimical towards Sri Krishna. Rather, they were simply joyful to have this opportunity to associate with their beloved. Purport. Srila Prabhupada comments, this attitude of the gopis is described by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he prays, "My dear Lord Krishna, you may embrace me or trample me under your feet, or you make me broken-hearted by never being present before me. Whatever you like, you can do, because you have complete freedom to act. But in spite of all your dealings, you are my Lord eternally, and I have no other worshipable object." This is the attitude of gopis towards Krishna. In the final verse, the translation, Shloka, Paridhaya swa vasamsi preshta sangama sajjita gruhita chittana no chelus tasmin lajjayite kshana. Translation, the gopis were addicted to associating with their beloved Krishna, and thus they became captivated by him. Thus, even after putting their clothes, they did not move. They simply remained where they were, shyly glancing at him. So, we'll offer some prayers. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaurav Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Seeking the blessings of Srila Prabhupada, all the assembled devotees, Adipurush Prabhu, Prabhuji, and then all the devotees online, so that we can discuss something beneficial for all of us for the next 20 minutes. So, the pastime is over. The surrender of gopis is exhibited. Everything is over. Now what? Gopis have exhibited the complete surrender and complete dedication to Lord Krishna. And now what is happening? So, in the first verse, text 21, so this is what, people, when they compare, okay, Lord, oh, your Lord is doing like this. Okay, it is said, Phalena Parichayate. Just see the activities and then, okay, you are seeing only one activity, Lord stole the garments. But later what happened? So when the gopis surrendered like that, so it is said, Lord gave the clothes with karuna, compassion. There is nothing like kama or lust. So it's karuna. So it invoked karuna in Lord's heart, compassion in Lord's heart. So when does Lord gets compassionate, or when anybody gets compassionate? When the other person doesn't have any other shelter. I was coming from Jersey. I was coming in the metro train. And then people are saying, the homeless people, please, can you give me $1? Please, can you give me $1? So when they don't have any other shelter, that invokes compassion in one's heart, and then because of that compassionate nature, people give some money, $1, $2, or whatever. So here, Lord got compassionate. That means what? The other person don't have any other shelter. So they don't have any other shelter but Krishna. So this is what all the ashrayas, material ashrayas. So they have given up all the other ashrayas. Only one ashraya, that is Krishna ashraya. So only shelter is Krishna. So Krishna ashraya. So Srimad Bhagavatam gives these 10 concepts that Sarga, Visarga, Sthana, Poshana, like that. So the final thing is Ashraya, like taking shelter of Krishna. So this particular pastime, so they are exhibiting the complete, dependence on Krishna, taking shelter of Krishna. And then we will discuss two other case studies where this has happened. But what happens when a person exhibits that sort of, Lord, other than you, there is no other shelter to me. When such a high standard of dependence is exhibited, then see what Lord does. Of course, compassion, but Lord gets sold out to the people. And then what Lord says to gopis, of course, in later chapter, this verse is very easy to remember. It is 10, 32, 22. So 10 plus 22 is 32. So 10th canto, 32 chapter, 22nd verse. This is one of the very beautiful verses. What happens when people exhibit complete surrender to Lord? Lord says, my goodness, I can't do anything. I don't know how to repay you. You are exhibiting such a high standard. I can't help. Let us see what he says. He says to gopis, I'm not able to, it is 10, 32, 22. I'm not able to repay my debt for your spotless service. Even within a lifetime of Brahma, imagine Lord is said, Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambrahma Sevyaman. Lord is being served by thousands of Lakshmis. And here we are sitting in New York, the financial hub. So here money matters. So they say, let's talk money. I was just filing the returns, and then they asked initial details, and then finally, let's talk money. So money talks here. And then, so Lord is in charge of that Lakshmi, money. And then he says, I'm unable to repay your debt, even in one lifetime of Brahma. Okay, 10 years, 20 years, mortgage. Okay, 30 years, you'll repay your debt, but here, even in lifetime of Brahma. So what he says, okay, then your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting all of the domestic ties, which are difficult to break. So here, gopis have exhibited that. So they didn't follow the social norms. So they exhibited the complete surrender. And what Lord is telling, therefore, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. I cannot repay you. So be happy in whatever you are doing. That's it.
And they didn't want anything.
They didn't want anything. They're happy. They just wanted Krishna's love. It's Krishna's satisfaction, even not Krishna's love. Because Krishna says, now go away. But Krishna is not exhibiting love also directly. But they say they felt that Krishna is happy. So that is what is the gopi. And then Lord says that be happy in this devotional service. This is the topmost. This is the best I can do. So bhakti is even greater than Bhagavan, because through bhakti or devotional service, we can please Bhagavan. So that's why it is said, Stitagraiva Damodaram Bhakti Baddham. So in order to capture that Lord, bhakti is needed. And when we have bhakti, Lord gets captured. So we will see that thing, yeah. So in the next verse, so in the next verse, it is 10, 22. Yeah. So what happens? Often, person is respected, so like to retaliate. Here now the thing what we are saying is the pastime is over. Now we are observing the after effects on Lord and after effects on the devotees. So after effect on the Lord, there is compassion in the Lord. Okay, so compassion arose in the Lord's heart. Now, what is happening with devotees, the gopis? So the gopis, they felt cheated, deprived, but still they did not feel at all inimical towards Lord Krishna. Rather, they were simply joyful. So this is what, when all the ashrayas are taken and then only the Krishna ashraya is established, people will be happy, no matter how tough it is. So let us take 2 examples from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the first is Bali Maharaj. So these are like great personalities. They are called Mahajans. So we observe their life as a case study, and then, so we validate whatever the principles we are discussing. So we say that, okay, if Lord handles us very roughly, still, we will be happy. So how it is? So Bali Maharaj is the king of the entire universe. And then all his subjects are there. They are saying, yes, sir. Everybody's saying, yes, sir. And the beautiful wife, she's always respecting the. So it's like a king, imagine. And then, so all of a sudden, so this king was bound in shackles, in chains. And then he was placed as a defaulter in front of his entire court. And then everybody is stating what happened. The Lord came as Vamanadev and he took away everything from this king in just a matter of seconds. He took away everything. And then moreover, he said, you king, you did not fulfill your promise. You owe me more. You gave me only 2 steps. There is 1 more step of land I need. So you are a defaulter. So you are under arrest. Imagine, here, head of an organization, we are here, and then there are followers. Everybody is very submissive to us, and then they're obeying our words and then everything. And then we are sitting and then we are discussing something. And then all of a sudden, our superior comes, and then in front of everybody, we get humiliated. The chief gets humiliated in front of everybody. That is so difficult to take. And then here, Bali Maharaj is being humiliated by his own wife. His wife is called Vindhyavali. She's a very chaste lady, but she starts speaking. Dear, my husband needs to be punished. Okay, subordinates in front of, but Vindhyavali is saying, yes, my husband thinks that he is the Lord of the entire 3 worlds. He needs to be punished. And then what happens? He's happy. My Lord, this is all yours. He's so happy. Bali Maharaj is so happy. He says, please, the third foot, please keep on my head. I'm yours, my Lord. And what happens again? Just like when gopis completely surrendered, what happened? The compassion arose in Lord's heart. When he sees Bali Maharaj so much surrender, he says, oh, I cannot repay this. Lord gets defeated again and again in hands of his devotees. He says, I cannot repay this. What will I do? Dear Bali Maharaj, I'll give you the greatest kingdom. So that is the, the heavenly planets, which the Bilaswarga, they call. It's heavenly planets at the bottom. So they have much more, wealth and everything. And on the top of that, I'll be acting as a doorkeeper at your palace for the time immemorial. Bhakti Bhaktam. Lord gets bound. Lord gets defeated again and again. I can't repay. If you exhibit so much surrender, I can't repay. So I'll just become your servant. So when all ashrayas are gone, and when only Krishna is the ashraya, Krishna ashraya, so then Krishna becomes God. So this is what Bali Maharaj. So the gopis exhibited the highest standards of surrender. Bali Maharaj. And there is one more pastime which will come. Is about Lord Shiva. We are speaking like this. We are speaking about great spiritual topics, deep spiritual topics, inspiring. And all that is expected is the person who is speaking should walk his talk. The simple thing. I'm speaking something, so I should follow that. If I don't follow, immediately all the people who are listening, they will make, what are you doing? You are just making a fool of yourself and making a fool of us. Lord Shiva is in front of a group of a big group of his followers who are all renunciates, all in saffron, all renunciates, greatest austerities, sense control, controlling senses for thousands of years, no agitating thoughts. And Lord Shiva is speaking about, how to control your senses, yoga, vasishtha, everything. Lord Shiva is. And then all of a sudden, Mother Parvati asks, so I want to know, you speak about so much this controlling of senses. What is this illusion power? I want to know how this illusion power looks like. Mother Parvati asks. So then Lord Shiva says, okay, you want to know what is Vishnu Maya? Okay. And then he asks Lord Vishnu, please show what is this Vishnu Maya. And then Lord says, okay, I will show you. And Lord comes as a beautiful Mohini Murti. So which he already came previously. So he comes as a beautiful Mohini Murti. And such a enchanting, form of, Lord as in the woman form. And then it's so attractive. Lord Shiva forgets that he is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva forgets that he's in front of his followers. Lord Shiva forgets he's next to his good wife. He forgets all the senses, and then he just runs after that beautiful Mohini Murti, desiring to enjoy with her. And then, she attracts him, she enchants him in such a way that Lord Shiva keeps running, and then, Lord Shiva's clothes keep flying. Of course, he doesn't wear much. But, in his assembly, and then all people are seeing, and then Mother Parvati is seeing, oh, what is happening? All the ashrayas of Lord Shiva are getting crashed. All the shelters, like, I am a sense controlled person. I'm a follower of this. I'm taking care of my wife. I'm setting such nice examples. All the ashrayas are getting smashed. He's running after Mohini Murti. And then he catches, and then, he seeing Lord Shiva's, nature. So Mohini Murti allows. So Lord Shiva catches her there. And then after that, again, Mohini Murti escapes from Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva, pacifies himself. And then he understands, oh my God, what happened? This is what. And then everybody sees, his wife is seeing, hey, what are you doing? You are running after another woman. And then all the followers are seeing, saying, hey, you are speaking of renunciation, and then you are running after another woman. So after all this, he got thoroughly shamed in front of everybody. And let us see what he says. Lord Shiva says, this is 8:12:36. So if you can remember. Thus, Lord Shiva could understand his position and that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has unlimited potencies. Having reached this understanding, he was not at all surprised by the wonderful way Lord Vishnu has acted upon him. And seeing Lord Shiva unagitated and unashamed, this is the thing. Lord Shiva was not ashamed. He could not walk his talk. He should feel ashamed, right? If I could not. But it's because of Lord Vishnu, I could not walk his talk. So then Lord Shiva was unashamed. Seeing this, Lord Vishnu, Madhusudana, was very pleased. He's not feeling bad. So I think day before yesterday, Kishore Chandra was telling, even feeling bad also is an offense to Lord. So that's something which is very interesting. Thus, he resumed his original form and spoke as follows. This is what, So when devotees exhibit such a high level of surrender, not in this material, rules, but towards the Lord. So that's the way to capture the Lord. Bhakti Bhagda. So when Lord is the only Ashraya. So this is what gopis are doing. So gopis, so they are not, they don't, it's not that they want to please the demigods or everything. They want to please Krishna. So this is what happens. So first is when the highest surrender is exhibited, Lord gets compassion in his heart, and then the devotee also feels happy, supreme bliss. And then what happens is the final thing is the gopis were addicted to associating. The gopis feel that, yes, why Lord is doing this to us? Lord took special time, to interact with us. So they have a sense of feeling that, well, Lord is also loving us. It's not that we love Lord, that's why we exhibited so much surrender, but Lord is also loving us. So in the purport, a very nice statement is there. Because they thought Krishna was now attached to them, they glanced at him with shyness, and being stunned by the rising of their ecstatic love, they could not move from where they stood. Yeah. In fact, this incident increased their humbleness before Krishna. So what happens? So the gratitude and the humility. Okay, Supreme Lord, you made us all yours. So that increased their particular, gratitude towards Krishna or humility towards Krishna. And they also felt that, yes, so Krishna also loves us. So that's why, they did not move from there. Yeah. But we should be very careful that sometimes we go into the feeling that Krishna is loving me, but Krishna is only for me. Okay, but not for others. So when that sort of feeling comes, it's a very careful thing. We need to be cautious. So in this practice of spirituality, Krishna is definitely for me. He loves me. But when we think that, I am more closer to Krishna than others, so Krishna doesn't like that. So when that sort of pride comes, my spiritual master, when spiritual master comes, so what the gopis do is, so they catch others and they push other gopis towards Krishna. So this gopi is better than me. So when, even in our spiritual practice also, in front of Lord or in front of the spiritual master, when the spiritual master comes, so we need to be very careful. We go in front of spiritual master, Maharaj, we should know. When we take others, see, Maharaj, this particular person is doing great. This particular person is doing great. That's what actually pleases us. When we push others, in front of us, so that is what is the gopi bhav, das. So this is what is the mood of all the spiritual masters, and then all the great devotees. So we need to be very careful, especially these pastimes when they demand high level of surrender. So sometimes we feel that okay, we surrender to anybody and everybody, but we should be careful that in this in this spiritual organizations, like everybody is practicing. So Srila Prabhupada gave this definition that endeavor, bhakti means, endeavor with intelligence. So we should not lose our intelligence. We should not blindly lose our, so we should be very careful what we are offering. And that intelligence, how we will get, how much to surrender. So that comes from reading scriptures or associating with devotees. So there are people, who surrender their entire life towards the institutions and then towards the movements. But later at some point of time, it's very difficult, So there are like the importance is not given, or sometimes people are not recognized. So we should be very careful that our all endeavors are just only to attract the attention of Krishna. Sometimes we may not get this attention from the institutions, just like we, Lord Shiva and Lord Bali Maharaj, and then gopis. So, so the only their aim is to please Krishna, even though they are ashamed, in front of so many. So this happens. So I'll conclude with one example. So there's one very currently is a very senior devotee, is a counselor in Mumbai, Chowpatty. But when he came in the early days, initial days, first 1 week, so to the temple, so he's very good at fund collection. So there's one festival. So he's very good at fund collection. So the Seva coordinator, he said, please go. So he gave some directions. So he went, and then it's a Sunday. So he did a very big fund collection. And then he's too new. So he took all that collected Lakshmi, and then he kept it in the donation box, in the hundi. And then at the end, where we have to report, so he came to the service coordinator and then service captain. And then he asked, where is the money? You collected so much fund, I heard, where is the money? He said, I kept all it in the donation box. That's where it's supposed to go, right? And then the Seva service captain said, did you actually collect the money? And then he was like devastated. What do you mean? I collected with so much enthusiasm for the service of Krishna, and then you're asking this question. So sometimes, there will be misunderstandings in the service of the Lord. So we should understand that our aim is to please Krishna. And then, so others may understand, may not understand. But so our ultimate aim should remain always pleasing Krishna. So we may get turbulences in many other directions. So we summarized today what we discussed. So we saw after the pastime has happened. So what are the after effects? So seeing the situation of gopis like that, there's compassion invoked in the Lord heart of the Lord, Karuna. And then we saw how Krishna is so much indebted to gopis that he can't repay. He just say, be happy in whatever you are doing. Nothing more than this exists in the entire universe. And then we saw the case studies of Bali Maharaj and then Lord Shiva, how they are ashamed thoroughly in front of their own people, in front of their wives and then everybody, but still they're happy because ultimately they could please Krishna. And then seeing that sort of unashamedness, so Krishna is completely indebted. And then finally, so devotees also understand that Lord also loves us. So that is what is the today's discussion. Thank you so much for your time, and the floor is open. Any comments? Any objections?
Hare Krishna, what a wonderful class. Your preaching is very sweet and natural. We're really grateful to hear you glorifying the Lord like that. And there's a newscaster, a journalist named Geraldo Rivera. You know him? No?
Yeah.
You know who that is?
I grew up, yeah.
Right? So he actually one time I approached him for a donation. He gave a donation right across the street here. But I was seeing on the newscast.
And Adi, did he call you a boy, or what did he call you?
What did he call you?
That's not important in terms of this conversation.
Tell us.
I'll tell you that story later. Let me just try to stay back here. So because I had some interaction with him, I saw his face on the newscast. So I said, what does Geraldo Rivera have to say? And he was talking about this new system they have. Instead of marriage, first of all, there's the prenup. You're talking about the gopis giving everything, but they get into a marriage situation, they make an agreement. You only get this if we get it to separation, then later you're not going to get all my money. And so they make a prenup. But then he was talking about a new system of marriage they have where it's a marriage for 2 years, literally. That's what he said in the newscast. And he said, and this is really exploitive of the young girls because they have their youth. And then, after you use them for a few years, then the marriage is only a 2-year agreement. And he said, this is really horrendous. He was shocked by it, and the gopis in this verse, after the incident where Krishna gave them back the garments, it said that they didn't go away. they have this saying, especially here in the East Village, where there's all these like bars and pubs and places where people hang out and pick up girls, and then they have what's called a one-night stand, where there's some sexual activity, but it's not a committed activity, not based on, any serious romantic agreement to be a husband and a wife and bring children into the world, some casual sexual promiscuity. And so the gopis were not looking for a one-night stand. They wanted to give themselves. They wanted to say, Lord, we're yours, and we really want to please you. And we're not going away just after this. So with Geraldo Rivera, right across the street here on that we were giving out little shloka, Chandika Shlok stickers, encouraging people to give a donation and explaining to him about the prasadam distribution for the homeless. So Geraldo Rivera, who's a very famous millionaire guy, he comes driving, I told you this, right, Keshav? He comes driving up in this white convertible car, stopped at the red light there. And I said, oh, sir, Mr. Rivera, may I address you as Geraldo? Yes, you may address me as Geraldo. I said, we're distributing hot meals to the homeless, and we're asking if you'll give a donation. He was, the red light is there. The top is down on the car. There's nothing between me, and I'm about a foot away from him. So he's like, sir, he says to me, I've confronted corrupt politicians at the highest level of government. I've been embedded with troops on the battlefield. I've been on international broadcasts, and I have never felt as awkward as I feel right now. I feel torn. I can hear a voice telling me, don't do it. I hear a voice in my head telling me, don't do it. I said, Geraldo, we're doing this in God's name. He said, oh, now it's for God. He was like, yes. I said, it's always appropriate to give a donation to God. We're the servants of God. We spoke it was only the light is like 60 seconds long, the stoplight, And I said, yeah, and we're sincere, and if you think we're cheating you, God sees everything. And if it's misused, what we're doing, then it'll come back to us in a bad way, We know that there's nobody gets away with anything. But please, we're asking for your benefit, because this is good for you to give a donation. So he gave a donation. And then he drove away in his car. He was like, he was so torn, But we're all like that, whether we should give even a little bit. But we might think that we're going to give a little donation and then we will just go on with our material life. But it doesn't work like that, right? Prabhupada tells that little story about the pygmy in the jungle, the little native with the blowgun. He shoots the elephant. The elephant just goes off. He goes and tells his wife, I shot elephant, And then she goes, okay. So they go and they put their little packages on their head and they follow the elephant. A few hours, all of a sudden, because that little dart so people might think I'm going to give a little donation and then I'm just going to go on with my material life. It's not going to happen. Krishna will unravel your material life. And sometimes when we approach people, we go to these sporting events like a baseball game, and they have these not life members, but season ticket holders. So you see the same person again, and this one man said to me, but I did this already. I know you. I gave a donation. I said, sir, this is a good habit, like breathing. Something you want to keep doing. It's not just like a one-night stand. You don't say, I did this already. You say, another wonderful opportunity to do something in the service of God. We want to keep doing it. Like the gopis, they didn't just go away. They wanted to give themselves to Krishna forever. And we have Ananda Loka Prabhu here offering some real nectar.
I'll try to go real fast because I know time. So I got in town yesterday again, and I'm staying over in 8th Avenue. It's about a 45-minute walk. And I've done it before. When the last time I was here, there was no problem. And when you were telling your story this morning about the gopis, their determination, it doesn't matter what happens. You can do whatever you want, Krishna. I'm not going to be shaken. And they're so focused that nothing disturbs them. There's no good, there's no bad. It's all Krishna. So as I was coming this morning, I got up yesterday. I was so excited because I'm thinking I'm going to walk to the temple. I'm going to be there at 5 o'clock for Mangalati. I'm going to be for the whole morning. I was so excited. I got up, very early this morning, and I get out the door and I time myself. And normally it takes me about 40 minutes to get here. Today it took me about an hour and a half, close to 2 hours. I got lost in Manhattan. I'm walking around, and I didn't have a machine, not a machine, a phone to get me, but I knew how to get here. And at one point I said, Krishna, do you not want me to go to the temple? I walked past Washington Square Park twice, which is a hop, skip, and jump from here. And I'm thinking, and I'm chanting along, and I'm trying to figure out why, and I had my faculties together, or at least I thought I did, but somehow or other, it was definitely Krishna intervening, because I know this route, and I'm thinking, why am I not there right now? And I was like, and then I look at it's 5 o'clock, so then 5:10, and then 5:15, and I'm thinking, and at one point I actually said, all right, do you want me to turn back? Should I just turn back and go back to 8th Avenue? After an hour and a half of walking, lost in Manhattan, and I see the rats going by. The good thing is there are about 3 people who saw me because I'm in Doe. I said, even if I don't make it, there was some good out of this, I have to be honest, I was a little, shaken because I wanted to be here. Anyway, to make a long story short, I finally get here, and I realize that everything that Krishna does is perfect, even if it's not what we want him to do, And then when I got here, I could just see how everything just unfolded. I was actually here at the time when I should have been here. I chanted, and everything comes together. So the point I'm trying to make here is a lot of times, even in our personal lives, we have lots of things that we want to do. And even if we want to do them for Krishna, it's like, well, really? Well, how bad do you really want to do those things, And if we're steadfast with that, no matter what happens, just like the gopis, this determination, no matter what happens, I'm going to stay here and stay focused. Reward or no reward, it's a reward because of the fact of I'm doing what Krishna wants me to do. So I like the mood that this, and I, going with Adi's story as well, the fact that this determination that he had and this persistency to talk to Geraldo, and we could see the results. So anyway, thank you.
It's great to see in that 60 seconds, Prabhu had so much conversation. Maybe that 60 seconds of Brahmas. Anybody else want to say anything on that?
Yeah, Bhima Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Can I be heard okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
So what we've learned from the past 2 anecdotes was stay away from Adi because he'll ruin your material life. And if you're with
transcendental pygmy.
Yeah. And yes, he shoots you with a dart, and later on you just pass out on a sidewalk, and then he puts you to sleep. Next thing you know, you're serving out food. And the other thing is there's no getting lost in Manhattan if you're on your way to the bus. It's the intention. I just like to read very quickly before the conch blows something about true abandonment in the mood of intimate conjugal love. This is from a Christian mystic speaking from the Song of Songs, Song of Solomon. I will read one verse spoken by the maidens of Lebanon, speaking to the soul, speaking to another woman who represents the soul who is in love with Krishna like a gopi. They say, "Where has your beloved gone, fairest among women? Where has your beloved turned aside so that we might seek him with you? And the purport from this mystic is, in your abandonment, you become a great missionary. You preach his perfection, his sweetness, and his unending loveliness. You inspire others to seek him and find him for themselves. And in timing with the conch, all conquering love, how wonderful are your victories. You, impetuous as a torrent in your love, carry along everyone you meet. That's with a capital Y. They're talking about Krishna. Who would not want to seek so desirable a love? So we can see that it's present everywhere. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna Daya Prabhu ki jai. Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much for participating in class. If you have any questions or comments, Krishna Daya, great class. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Would anyone like to say anything at this point? Okay. We were blessed with the devotional laughter of Anandaloka Prabhu. We'll tell him when we see him today. Thank you, Bhima, for Brennan Christian Mystics, Denisha, Bruce, Yogeshwari, Suzanne, Rich, Dana, Scarlett, Henry Prabhu, Amrita Kishori, Didi, Sharmila, Pink Yogi. Thank you very much, everybody online. We know you're there. We love you. Come again tomorrow. Bruce Prabhu, freshly shaved. This is a Vaishnava. Okay. Hare Krishna.